Andrea, what do you make of Nicola Sturgeon calling for compromise on both sides? Do you feel that you have? Do you feel that you have compromised?
So given that the pay claim of teachers was on the desks of Scottish Government officials and local authority employers on the 7th of February 2022, there's already been a huge element of compromise in that teachers have waited now 10 months since they should have had a pay increase in their bank accounts on the 1st of April 2022, and we're now at the 17th of January. They have waited more than 10 months to receive that, and they are still waiting. So there's already a huge element of compromise in there, given the backdrop of inflation running at 11%, for a large part of the year by the most modest measure, and 14% CPI. So teachers have already been struggling over the course of this academic session, while the Scottish Government and employers have dragged their heels, prevaricated, procrastinated, and have failed thus far to settle this pay claim.
So what increase are they actually looking for? Is there a percentage that you could put your finger on that you could say they're after?
So the claim that was lodged last February was for 10%. Inflation at that time was running at 7%, so there was a cost of living protection in there and a 3% restorative element, because teacher pay in Scotland has eroded in real terms to the tune of almost 25% since 2008. So there's a very modest attempt to recover some of that lost ground. So it's a 10% claim, and that remains the claim on the table for the consideration of Scottish Government and COSLA, which is the umbrella body of local authority employers in Scotland. Thus far, the offer from them is 5%. That offer was first made in August, and more or less in the 6 months intervening period, we're still looking at an offer from employers and the Scottish Government of 5%, which is not nearly enough to satisfy the needs of our members. So it's neither fair nor affordable to them, and we've asked the Scottish Government and COSLA to think again and to think harder about how they're going to settle this dispute.
Now, you've been quite contradictory, though, because on one hand, you say that teachers are prepared to strike into the new academic year, but then in the next breath, you say if industrial action impacted exams, it'd be a matter of deep concern. I mean, where do you stand on your mandate, then, and the disruption that it's likely to cause?
So it's not quite accurate to say that teachers are willing to strike on into the next academic year, because we haven't asked them. What we have said is that the strength of resolve that we've seen so far from our members would suggest that they would wish us to continue the campaign for fair pay on their behalf, obviously with their involvement, but that would require a further ballot of members, and that would be we would need to have balloted members before the end of this academic session, if we were to look to extend the mandate on into the new academic session, 2023-24. And in terms of disruption to young people's education, our members are already concerned about that. They don't wish to see disruption to children and young people's education. They care very much about children and young people, very much about their education and the quality of education that they receive. But they have been left with no other option but to take strike action, because months and months of negotiation have largely been fruitless in terms of the satisfaction of this pay claim. So it's been a last resort that our members have had to take. It's not one that they wish to have to do over and over again, but the power and the resource to settle this dispute rests very much with the Scottish Government and COSLA. So any blame for disruption and discontinuation of children's education rests at the door of COSLA and the Scottish Government, not Scottish teachers.